Good morning, gardening friends. Today is Sunday, April 27th, and it's a hazy day today, but it should be sunny. We got a little sprinkling of rain last night, but not nearly enough. We are desperately dry. I'm having to water everything. We're starting out today in the front porch. I did not get a chance to move my nun's orchid yet or to plant my Easter lilies. That's the last of the Easter lilies. But a lot has happened this week, and you'll see it all shortly. But I thought I would start with a find that I made yesterday. I went antiquing and found this book on camellias, the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Camellias by Sterling McAvoy. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. It was published in 1998. It's old, but it's basically a picture book of camellias. I look forward to looking through the book, hoping to identify the camellias I have in the backyard that I don't know the names of. So I was glad to pick that up. Without further ado, let's go take a walk. We can start with the pelargoniums right outside the door. They're doing really well. The last of my amaryllis are in bloom for this year. You can see I did cut down that cycad. All of the fronds on it were quite yellow. I apologize for the constriction noises in the background, but one of my neighbors is having some work done. My work stops for the weekend, but apparently not everyone does that. Here you can see the bananas are doing extremely well. The gardenias are starting to thicken nicely. And uh-oh, what happened to this tree? Well, I scratched some more bark off of my, what was it? It was a fig, a black fig. And needless to say, I wound up cutting the whole top of it off and cut it down to new growth. At the base here is where I'm going to put my 3 Easter lilies. Over here, all is looking well. And probably the plant of the week will be my little gem magnolia. It is an absolute full blossom and quite fragrant. Let's go out here and take a look at the potager. I do have some new shoots coming on my Opuntia cactus. I did take a bunch of cuttings from it and gave them to a friend. You do have to thin them out because they will grow into each other. Potager is still looking fine. We'll come back to that. I forgot to bring you out to the camellia garden. We put down mulch this week. I like to use cypress blend because cypress, I had a flea infestation many years ago in my yard, and if you ever have one, you never want to have it again. Well, it turns out that cypress has a natural flea repellent, or it is a natural flea repellent. So I use that as mulch for my paths or places where the cats like to stay. The rest of my beds, I use leaves as mulch. Have not put a bunch out. The other thing we did this week is we cut back the 4 tea olives, and also I trimmed up the hibiscus or rose of Sharon, also bound it and straightened it. These others will wait to another day. Down here, the impatiens have really grown. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. But so far, the slugs have not found them. Thank God for that. That cycad is coming back nicely. You can really get a good view of the magnolia from here. It also has quite a fragrance. I want to say it smells a little bit like watermelon, but that's just a figment of my imagination perhaps, but it does have a very intense sweet smell. The potager is doing fabulously well. Blackberries are all over this year. This is only its second year. And those were bare root Apache thornless blackberries. And you can see my lemongrass came back. I'm glad it's stunted because that grew about 6 foot tall in 1 year. I see my sage has come back nicely. Pretty much everything here is doing well. My dill is looking good, nice and thick. So yes, the front yard is looking well. I also worked over this area, cleaning out all of the growth of the nandinas. Oh, look at my tomatoes, by the way, while we're here. Nice green tomatoes. I can't take credit for them. I got them at Walmart, but they are growing. Have not lost any fruit yet. I do have to water them every day. But yeah, these nandinas were all overgrown underneath. And so I went ahead and didn't dig them out, but I cut out the nandinas that were spreading. Here you can see the Australian tree fern is thickening up nicely. These are the bags of leaves that I have yet to spread as mulch, but I will. There's only so much time in one day. Here are my lilies of the Nile that I had in the backyard. They were in the urns on either side of my walkway off the deck. They did not bloom for 3 years. So I got sick of looking at them and planting them in the ground, and lo and behold, a blossom stalk. Back in here, this looks really open now that the nandinas are cleaned out. I also thinned back the nandina because it was getting very thick. Oh, there's an anole sneaking out from the shutters. See how close I can get. Over here, did not do too much, except I was weeding a little, and I did step on a section of my trout lilies. Toad lilies. Toad, not trout. Two different things. I always get them confused. This looks nice here. You can see my neighbor's bush is in full bloom. That is one that that's ligustrum. When it gets to the brown stage, it starts stinking. So it's at the stinking stage now. That's when it affects my sneezing. This angel's trumpet is doing well. I cleaned up the deck a little this week. Cleaned off the wall of the house because it was turning green. This Virginia creeper is doing well. I'm going to have it crawl over to that trellis that I put in last year. These coleus have done really well here. My Easter lilies are coming after the hellebores or Lenten rose. Here you can see the African iris is blooming. More Easter lilies. The other news last week, I got a roof, a new metal roof on my garage. And one of my neighbors had texted me. She said I ought to come up with a better name for that and name it. So I am going to call it my Garconniere. Since I have a potager in the front yard, I have a Garconniere in the backyard. I remember going to some of the plantations in Louisiana, and the Garconniere was the outside building for the men of the young men especially, of the plantation homes, so they could smoke and drink and play cards and not disturb the gentle or genteel women folk. So I don't do much of that. But in any event, my Garconniere is coming along. The only thing left to do is a little bit of trim underneath the roof. Also, a piece of plastic was put at the bottom of the deck. That deck is probably about 15, 20 years old, and the constant weed whacking put all kinds of ridges in the board that was there. So we covered it over with some white plastic, and it looks good. We missed a daylily. The first of my daylilies bloomed yesterday. My herb bed is looking good. Still have my parsley, sage is there, rosemary and thyme. The plants on the deck look good. This is bay, and the reason I haven't cut those errant things off yet is I'm going to take the leaves off before I do, because they're all perfectly good bay leaves. You can still see the poinsettia, hopefully, in the window. I will take you in the back because some exciting news. I'm not certain yet exactly what's going to be here, although the ladders will have to stay. So I'll have to disguise them in some fashion. But, pardon the dirt all over, but my asparagus that I planted about 2 weeks ago is sprouting. I found this pot back here. Well, I didn't find it. I just didn't come back here very often. And when they removed the wall, I saw the big pot. So I decided, let me try asparagus. And also, here's the banana that was on the deck. It likes it better here. This is a sunny spot, so they should do well here. I still have the water bowl, or gato, the tortoise that comes to visit. I have not seen him yet this year. It doesn't mean that he's not here, but I have not seen him yet. Over here, well, I see the cats have been messing with my frame on the other toad lily. We also got rid of a big chunk, a dead chunk, of my satsuma tree. And I don't know what happened here, but they apparently gouged the trunk of the good part that I wanted to keep. I'll have to come back here with a knife and clean that up so it can heal. It won't heal well with all these rough bits. Hopefully, it'll heal nicely. That satsuma is doing well. I don't worry about cutting them down. That one at one point in time was cut down to a stub 3 foot off the ground. I had when my big oak trees fell. It split that in half. So they do come back. So if you ever cut a satsuma down, it will sprout back from the roots. So this one, although it looks pitiful right now, I am expecting it to recover nicely. There's still a little bit of dead at the top. I'll get up there and prune that myself. But there's only so much you can do in 1 week. I do like the metal roof. The carpenter spent a long time getting that roof level. The roof of the garage was not level. This is an old garage built in the 1940s, and it had sagged, and I closed it in about 20 years ago. But the sag remained. Well, they basically took the sag out. They built up underneath the metal roof with some pieces of wood. So it looks really good. And by the way, the back side of the garage, facing the neighbor on that side, was clad in that metal. So on their side, they have a brown wall as well as the brown roof. And the metal being on the side means hopefully I'll never have to replace any siding there, because this siding rots. The wood, of course, rots with time. I've replaced the siding about 3 or 4 times in 30 years. But the back side is now all metal. I don't know what this cycad is doing. It has 1 leaf it's sending up, and it does have the male cone is starting to come at the top of it. Oh, I didn't turn my fountains on yet. The stuff growing on the window palm is looking well. The birds like to pick at it. Spanish moss. So I like to keep putting it back up. I did uncover this palm this week and cleaned up all the dead. So my lady palm, Rhapsis something or other, is looking good. I replaced a coleus here. I like this color better. These were cuttings other than the one in the front that I had taken last year. I have my other angel's trumpet there. The other 2 angel's trumpets that I rooted, I didn't really know where I was going to put them, so I wound up giving them to Sarah, my next door neighbor, from whence one of the pink cuttings came before her construction started, and she lost her pink angel's trumpet. So I returned her pink and gave her a white as well. Saved me having to plant it. Nun's orchids are still doing well. And these are the ground orchids. Colocasia, you can't kill that stuff. Don't plant it in the ground if you're in the zone 9A like I am here in LA, lower Alabama, because that stuff will send roots out 6 to 12 feet, sending up plants every probably 2 feet. So before you know it, your whole backyard will be covered with that stuff. I cleaned up a little more again on the statue of David. And on this palm, I did what I said I was going to do, which was I trimmed up the dead so that at least it's all even. So it looks unkempt, but at least it's a nice looking unkempt. I think keeping the dead on it will probably help some in the wintertime, because the only thing you really need to protect from frost is the growing tip. So it may make it a little more resistant to cold snaps in future. The vincas in pots are thickening out nicely. I'm keeping the grass alive by watering it. The fruits on the Serrano and Rapans Haven't started yet. I don't think these are open yet. Still getting strawberries. Not a lot, but I'm still getting them. Spiderwort is about done. Not so much that it's dying back as I'm getting sick of looking at it, but the bees do like it, so this is the last of the spiderwort I have. Back in here, finally, whatever was eating the leaves on this white angel's trumpet has stopped. And this side of the garage is looking fine. There's still a little bit of touch-up to do, but when the touch-up is finished, I plan on fixing this up a little. This will become my little potting area. It kind of evolved into that, but I may build a little bench underneath this. This thing I got from a neighbor. I picked her trash pile. It's supposedly one of these things you put over your toilet bowl for some extra shelving, and she had put it out on the street for big trash pickup, and I thought that would be a good thing to keep pots and stuff on. So I'm kind of envisioning building a little table underneath it, and that would be my potting area. I did have a potting area once in the very back where the asparagus is, but it was so far back there that it was so inconvenient to get at, I really never used it. So eventually I took it out. By the way, if you have a metal roof and animals walk over it, they leave footprints. I've been very protective of my brand new metal roof, so I got up yesterday and had to hose the roof off to get the little muddy paw prints off of it. Of course, in time, I'll get used to seeing them. This sedum looks really good there. And I put that in there this year, so it spreads really well. Cycad's coming up nicely. And the pecan is leafing out. Let me get over here so I can show you out of the sun. Ooh, I fell in a hole. Animals are digging holes here. But the pecan should take off again this year. Blueberries are still here. Not turning blue yet, but got lots of berries. They're hidden on this bush. So yes, everything is doing nicely. My plum is nice and green. I don't see any fruits on it, even though it did have a lot of blossom. Oh, there's a catbird sitting in my camellia. That's the one camellia I'm not certain if it's caught or not, because it lost a lot of leaves. The frost really got it this winter. But it looks green and healthy on this side, so hopefully it will live. You can cut camellias back. See, this side looks healthy and green. The other side, not so much. But I could cut it back to the top of the stems and it would sprout back again. But I'd rather not do that because it's one of four. And if I do that, it's going to then make it look kind of off-center. So we shall see how it develops. Up here, all is well. I watered everything in yesterday. I got rid of the pansies and planted coxcombs. Well, I have to point. Pointing is different for the camera than it is for me in person. But the coxcombs I thought would bring a nice bit of color there. I'm going to have to find another spot for this hosta because that one doesn't like the sun, so I may move it over here. I'm going to be rejigging this back deck this week because I want to bring some other plants out. I had to get a new basket for this window box. The other one literally rotted apart. It just rusted so much it fell apart. So bought another one and installed it. It looks good. And I got rid of some of the Nepenthes. I may get rid of this branch that's going upwards, but I figured I took 2 big branches off, and I don't want to take too much off at one time because you can't put it back. But if you see, there is new growth in the center, so new branches will shoot. My torch begonia is doing well from cuttings. I got a new Coca-Cola tray. The old tray I had there was rusted, so I figured rather than painting it, just get another one. It's a lot easier. I cleaned up my Sarracenias, so they look a lot better now. Everything here is looking good up on the deck. The one thing that's really a surprise, pleasantly, is the papyrus. That new plant really took off, and the old plants are thickening up nicely, except that one, because of cats. They like to take a shortcut by jumping over the plants. Okay, now remember last week we talked about putting caladiums in a bag? Well, let's see what's happened. These were in my kitchen. They were not out here on the deck. It's hard doing this one-handed, but here is the bag open with the wet paper towel, and the exciting news is I can see roots. And here's the pot. So let's see what we got. Full of shoots. You can see over here, those are that's the upward parts. This one, clearly. You can see where the sprouts are. None of these sprouts were there last week. Same here. Well, this one, not so much. I will take the chance and put it like that. And the last one has a lot of roots. There it is. That's up. So at least 4 out of 5 did show which side was up. The other one I will just plant on its side. Actually, in case that one's dead, I will put it in the middle so that at least I'll have a ring of caladiums. Then of course you put dirt on them. Tamp it down, and there you have it, a pot of sprouted caladium bulbs. So we will follow its progress. Now I have a dirty hand. But in any event, that is it for this week. Let me go ahead and sit here, wipe my hand on something. The sun has come out. It's going to be a beautiful day. I hope you all get to get out in your yard and enjoy it some. And remember what you're gardening for. This video is not so much a how-to video. There are millions of those around, or at least thousands. This is more how to appreciate your garden, which is the real reason why I like to garden, is I like to look at it and learn from it. And it keeps me busy, keeps me healthy. So that's the reason why I like to garden. Plus I garden with a lot of friends, because a lot of these plants were either given to me or I took cuttings with people's permission, and they remind me of different people. So I'm always surrounded by those people, or at least the memories of those people when I garden. So there are a lot of reasons to garden. Those are a few of mine, but I hope you get out in your yard this week and have some fun. Enjoy your yard. Till next Sunday, take care. Bye-bye.